Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on my channel. In today's video we're going to be showing you guys how to build this starter house right in front of us, built in the desert style, and I think you guys are going to absolutely love it, and it's going to turn out looking perfectly in your own Minecraft world when you build it as your starter house. And all around, this structure is super simple to build. You can see it doesn't require a lot of materials. You can see it only requires a bit of sandstone, some wood, and a few other blocks. But all around, they're super easy to get, and you guys can probably all get them in your first day of your Minecraft world, which makes this the ideal starter house for your world. I've also gone ahead and fitted the outside with a few decorations as well, just to bring this place to life, but you guys don't have to necessarily fit those decorations in as well when you're building this build for yourself, and you can go ahead and make a few tweaks as well. I don't really mind what you guys do with it, as long as you guys are happy with the result. So in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to build a block for block like I said in the intro, and I'm also going to show you guys how you can also decorate it with a very nice looking interior as well. Anyway, with all of that said, then let's go ahead and jump straight into the block by block tutorial and why we're building this house in particular. So the main reason that I'm building this house here in the desert style is because recently I uploaded this video where I transformed a Minecraft village in the desert style, and one of the builds that featured in this video was this one over here, and it was personally my favorite and I really loved it a lot. And a lot of you guys have been wondering how I do my builds and how I create them, so I thought what better way than go ahead and make a tutorial. So in today's episode or today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to build this house here and show you guys how I create my desert style builds. And hopefully that will be enough for you guys to understand how I went ahead and transformed an entire desert village in this style here. Anyway, let's get straight into the building process and replicate this build right here beside itself in a block by block tutorial. Alrighty, so what I've gone ahead and done to make this process a little easier for you guys is actually made a little layout over here and collected all the blocks that you're going to be using in today's build, just so that you get a rough idea of what you require to make this little starter house over here. So basically, let's just take a quick look at the outline here. You can pause the video right now if you want to and just see how big this house is. You can see it's pretty small. It's just the main build over here and then the tower, and that's pretty much it. You've also got the staircase on the side that leads on to the top, and then you're gonna have a doorway on this side here and another side entrance over here as well. And then when it comes to the blocks, you can see there's not that many actually. We've only got the birch planks here, some smooth sandstone, some normal sandstone, some sand, and some cut sandstone slabs. The main reason we're using cut sandstone slabs rather than normal ones or some smooth ones is because I like the polished look that these ones give rather than the normal ones, because you can see over here it gives a nice outline at the top, which I quite like. Of course, you guys can change that up a little bit if you want to add your own little flair onto it. And then in terms of spruce wood, you can see that we're using a note block, even though that's not necessarily spruce. I think it just fits in nicely into this category. So we've got some note blocks, some spruce fence gates, some spruce slabs, and some spruce buttons. And then when it comes to oak blocks, we've got an oak slab, an oak top door, an oak fence gate, and then a brown banner for the front. And then these are some extras which you don't necessarily need, but I've gone ahead and included them anyway, which is some chests, some barrels, and some kelp blocks for the outside. And then when it comes to the interior, I'll show you guys what blocks I'm going to be using later on. Alright, so let's get straight into this and begin building. So we're going to start off with this main build over here, and we're going to be doing our texturing along the way. And then after that, we can start working on the tower and do that as our final bit. Anyway, so basically what you want to do is grab your main few blocks here. So you want to grab your birch, you want to grab your smooth sandstone, your sand, and you want to leave the slab for the moment. And then what you want to do is grab your smooth sandstone and fill this entire section in here, the front section only. So that should be 8 blocks, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and that should be something similar to this. Then you want to go ahead and extend it 3 more times on top of that, so it's 4 blocks tall. So you do that 1 2 3 4, so it's 4 blocks tall, 1 2 3 4, and you want to go ahead and fill that in. And I'm going to go ahead and quickly do that, and then you guys should get a similar result to me. Okay, so once you've done that, you get a very simple plain wall, just like so, 4 blocks tall and 8 blocks wide. And you should see it's pretty simple, and it looks quite nice even though it's not been decorated at the moment. And now what you want to do is punch out the hole where your door is going to go. So you want to skip 1 block from the side here and then break these 2 blocks here, and that's going to be your entrance, and we're going to leave that for the moment. Now we're going to start working on texturing. So we're going to start texturing this first wall over here, and what you want to do is use the sandstone, the sand, and the birch planks. And one way I like doing this is actually mixing in the birch planks first. So what you want to do is use only a few birch planks. I only recommend using this like 4 times on this wall here. So let's go ahead and mix in 1, 2, 3, and I think 4 is good there. And maybe one more actually. Let's mix in one more there. So that's a good amount of birch planks. You don't want to put it too many because you want to still give it that sandy feel. The birch is just a very similar color, so it looks nice, but you want to keep it very sandy and fit in with this desert area. Then you want to go ahead and mix in your sandstone. Don't add too much of this as well, but add more than the birch, of course. So you want to mix in some here and there just for some cracks, and it should look very nice. And you can see that we're getting that effect here right now. And let's mix in, you play around with it. Okay, let's mix in, actually, you know what, that's good, I like that. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of sandstone, and I like that. Just play around with it, see what you like, and then you should get a very good result. Then finally use the sand and just add a little bit here and there, and it'll give a nice effect. So you just break it into the build, and you can see it's not too different from the smooth sandstone, but it adds a little bit of variety and it looks quite nice. So you go ahead and just pop that into a couple places and it'll look really cool. And you can see I've gone ahead and pulled that off. When you guys are making your own builds, make sure you just experiment with it and just see what you like. And I'm actually going to pop one more in there because I think that will make it just a little bit more unique. Now what you're going to go ahead and do is add these windows. Now the windows are kind of up to you. You can see I'm using note blocks and some oak trapdoors here. You can use both. You can see that I've also used both myself. Sometimes I put the note block next to the trapdoors, and sometimes I use them on their own, and sometimes I use these trapdoors on their own. So it's really up to you, but I'm just going to do it the way that I did it here as well. So what we're going to do is grab our note blocks, our trapdoors, our spruce fence gates, and then finally our spruce slab as well. So what you want to do is break out 2 blocks over here. So what we're going to do is just come back to this wall, and you want to count 1 block from this door here. So you want to go here, then 1 block here, and then break 2, just like so, that you get something like this. Then you want to place your 2 note blocks in the middle like so. These look like kind of like a mesh that you're going to put in front of your window. I think if you guys, a lot of you watch B-dubs, he shows how he uses note blocks in a similar way. So what you want to do is put note blocks as a mesh here, and then place a fence gate on top of this first one. What you want to then do is open that and then place a spruce slab on top of it, just to give it a little bit of a canopy, and that looks quite nice. And then for the next window, you want to pop out these 4 slots here, similar to what we did there. And then basically you want to first make your window on this side here. So what you want to do is place an oak trapdoor there, and then oak trapdoor there, and then go ahead and open those so that they're closing off the window, and you should get something very similar to this. And then you want to place your note block mesh on the side there, so it just looks like it's slid, I can't English, but it's slid over to the side there. And then you put your fence gate over the main window here, and then you put your spruce slab, and then you should get something very similar to this. And I think overall that looks quite nice. And as you can see, I'm actually going to add a bit more texturing in now that we've got these windows here, and just play around with it. I think that looks much nicer now. You've added in a little bit more cracks, and I'm pleased with how it looks so far. Then finally, for the finishing touches for this first wall, is what we're going to do is grab some buttons here and place them along the top. So you want to place a button here, a button here, a button here, and then a button here, and then that should do. And you can see it's not entirely symmetrical. You got 1 block here, 1 block here, and then you got 2 blocks here, but it's fine. It still looks really nice, and personally I like a bit of asymmetry sometimes, so I think it adds a bit of uniqueness into the build. And one more thing I actually forgot to mention is the front door. Actually, we forgot to do that. So let's go ahead, and what you want to do is grab your oak trapdoors here and grab your banner as well. And the banner is just going to look like a little kind of rag or some sort of like carpet or something like that, just to cover the entryway, because usually in the ancient times when they had like these desert houses, they didn't really use doors that often. So one way I kind of like to make a door is using these banners to look like a rug just hanged over the entrance, and I think that does nicely. So what you want to do is place a trapdoor like this so you can still walk underneath it with ease, but then place a brown banner on top of that trapdoor so you get a look just like this, and then that should be your entryway. Now one thing to remember is if you're playing in survival, mobs can just quickly enter your build like so. So you might want to put a door behind that, but I'll show you guys how to do that very nicely later on in the video. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue with the rest of the build. And now we're going to build this little stairway segment on the side of the build and how it's going to attach to this front wall. So what you want to do is grab your smooth sandstone and place a block here, and then place blocks all along this side as well. And then you're slowly going to go in like a step pattern. So you want to place another block here, and then another block, 2 blocks there, so that it slowly goes in like this kind of direction. Place another one there, and then at this point here, once it's reached the 4 block limit like this wall over here, you want to just match that so that it goes like a so. So on this side here, on this very right side, you're gonna have 1 2 3 4 blocks, but the first 1 2 3 4 blocks over here are slowly going up, and so that you have the last 3 blocks at 4 blocks height. So it should look something very similar to this. And that might be a little confusing. I know my explanation isn't the best, but if you just pause the video at the moment and just take a look at it, you guys will eventually get it. Anyway, what you want to do is grab these cut sandstone slabs here and place one over here just as a little kind of handle for these steps that you're about to go up. Then what you want to do is grab your oak slab and then your oak fence gates, and what you want to do is slowly create your steps. So you want to place an oak slab over here, then a fence gate, then a slab, then a fence gate, then a slab, then a fence gate, and then a slab, and you should have something like that. And then finally you want to put another slab like so, so that when you come and look at the front, they look like nice looking steps, but the final one is actually just one slab difference from here and the top, so that it's aligned with this height over here. And then what you want to go ahead and do is place some cut sandstone slabs on these last 2 blocks here and place them all along this front wall as well, which I forgot to do a little earlier. And that's pretty much your stairway almost complete. Now we're going to go ahead and pop in the side entrance. So what you want to do is count 1 2 blocks from the side here and then break in another 2 blocks just like we did at the front there. So this should be almost in the middle, 1 2 blocks from here and 1 2 3 blocks from there. And you guys can go ahead and do the same with the banner and the trapdoor if you guys would like, but I'll just leave that for now and we can go ahead and do that later. And now just before you get straight back into texturing this wall over here, let's go ahead and fix up this side of the wall so that this staircase is covered on both sides and you don't just fall off the edge. So what you want to do is 1 2 blocks here just like so. Just add another 2 blocks to the side of this corner here, and you want to bring them all the way up to the 4 blocks like we did earlier, and then bring the cut sandstone slabs across just like so. And you should have something looking like this, and overall it looks quite nice at this given moment. Now all you have to do is go ahead and texture that like we did earlier using this wall, and it's pretty simple. I've already explained it to you guys. Don't use too many birch planks, don't use too much sandstone, and you should get a very nice result. And I'm going to go ahead and do that myself since you guys already know how to do it. Alright, so I've gone ahead and done our texturing over here. As you can see, we have done this little back part and this side as well, and I think all around it looks quite nice. Now we can start moving on to this back wall here, and it's pretty simple. All you want to do is actually just go ahead and fill this entire thing in over here, and then we can go ahead and do the little intricate details and add in the windows. So once you've gone ahead and filled in the first layer like so, you want to go ahead and raise that to the 4 block limit like we did at the front wall over here. If we just destroy those 2 blocks, you can see we raised it 1 2 3 4. So you want to go ahead and do the same. So we did that 1 2 3 4 here, and you want to do that for the back wall as well. So just bring your 4 up, and it should be all nice and complete and even with the rest of the house. And once you've gone ahead and done that with the back wall, you want to grab your sandstone slabs, the cut sandstone slabs, and bring them all the way across to this point here, and then bring them to this point here so that they don't intercept with these blocks in the corner, because that's where the tower is actually going to join up with this main part of the build. And then just before we get into the little intricacies on the backside and add in the windows, let's go ahead and finish off the roof. So what we're going to do is grab this oak slab here and go ahead and fill in the top part of this build over here and just make a nice roof, which is going to look pretty cool from the inside and from the outside. And you can also gain access to it using our staircase that we built. And at this point of time, your build should look something very similar to this. So you've got the front wall done, you've got the staircase done, the roof done, and we're almost done with the back and this side of the build. Okay, so now let's go ahead and make the windows for the back part of the build now. So what you want to do for the first window is go ahead and count one block from the corner, so you're on the corner, and then count one, and then count another. Then you want to go ahead and break these two blocks here. Then go ahead and add some note blocks like so. Place your spruce fence gate like we did earlier, like I explained pretty much the same way for the front window, and then go ahead and add your spruce slab on top of that, and you should get a very nice window like so. And then go ahead and come to this point over here, and from the green wool, you might not have green wool in your world, but basically from this corner here, you want to count one block and then one block again like we did on that side, and then you want to break these two blocks here and then break another two, because we're going to make another sliding window like we did on the front as well. So you want to place your note blocks on this side here, and then you want to go on the inside and place your two oak trapdoors, and then go ahead and open those up so that when you come on the outside, you got a pretty nice looking window. And then you want to go ahead and finish that off like you did with this one. Go ahead and place your spruce trapdoor, and then go ahead and place your spruce slab, and you should get two pretty cool looking windows. And with all of that said, then you're pretty much done with this back wall over here. Now one thing you might have noticed is when I was building the interior for this build over here, is that I actually used the windowsill over here. So I went ahead and actually popped out the windows. So you guys can do those yourself when you're making your builds as well, if you want to ever use the windowsill. So one thing I'm going to do is when I build the interior in front of you guys is actually pop out this windowsill. So what I'm going to do is do that in advance. So I'm going to go ahead and place a trapdoor on top of that one, and then go ahead and break the previous one and open that. So the window might look a little weird from the back side, but no one's going to be looking at that too much. And sometimes a little bit of variation in depth looks a little nice. Alright, so let's go ahead and get straight into texturing then without further ado. And you guys already know how to do this part because I've already shown you a couple times. So I'll see you guys after all this texturing is done. Alright, I've gone ahead and finished up the texturing for our back wall, and I have to say I'm super pleased with the result, and it looks absolutely stunning. I'm absolutely blown away with how it looks, and hopefully you guys love your back wall design as well, and it should look something very similar to this. But anyway, let's go ahead and add the finishing touches in the form of some buttons like we did with the front over here, and let's go ahead and just plop those in. So what you want to do is come to this corner over here, come to the top block, and place a button here. Then skip 1, 2, then a button, skip 1, button, skip 1, 2, button. And then you're going to leave this corner over here empty because that's going to be a part of the tower build. And just like that, we're completely finished with our main section of the build. And I have to say, it looks absolutely amazing. I absolutely love it. And it turned out perfectly the way I wanted it to. Now we can go ahead and move on to our tower bit here. But just one more thing is, you see there's a little bit of wall over here that's exposed. So we need to go ahead and texture that here as well. So what you want to do is texture just these two blocks here so that you can see them on the inside and it doesn't look too plain. So just go ahead and use your blocks here and just texture up this wall just a little bit and make it look a little bit more interesting. And just like that, we're completely done with the main section of our build. So I guess without further ado, let's just jump straight into building the tower, which is super simple. So what you want to do is grab your smooth sandstone here and go ahead and follow the layout for this tower, which is just placing some blocks just like this. Just so that you have 3 blocks on each side, so 1, 2, 3, then a gap, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then these two connect up here and you have one more protruding outwards, and you should have a design similar to this. And then basically you want to make this entire section here 9 blocks tall, so you're going to repeat that another 8 times on top of this. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys one side and then you guys can do the rest. So you want to do this a few more times, and make this 9 blocks tall. So let's go ahead and count that: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And your wall should look something very similar to that. And then go ahead and repeat that for all the sides here. So I've gone ahead and repeated that for 3 of the sides, and for those of you which are having difficulties for this side here, only thing you really need to do different on this side is just raise this up so that it matches the height of this wall, and then continue that all the way up to the 9 block limit. And there you go, you have a very beautiful looking tower at the moment, but must I say it looks pretty bland. So we're going to go ahead and do our texturing and all of that right now. So just go ahead and place in your sandstone, your birch, and your sand on all of these walls here. Make it really nice looking, and then everything should come out looking amazing. Alright, so I've gone ahead and done a bit of texturing, and you can see the walls are basically a bit less bland and look slightly more interesting. Now what you want to go ahead and do is grab your cut sandstone slabs over here, and you want to make a very nice looking fort type pattern at the top. So what you want to do is place a sandstone slab on each outer part of this wall here. So you want to place one here and one here. Then go ahead and repeat that for all the sections here, all the walls. So you want to place one here, one here, one here, one here, and one here, and one here. And you should get a pretty cool effect just like that. And to cap off this build over here and make it look a little bit more finished, what we're going to go ahead and do is add our roof in now. So what you want to do is grab your oak slabs and come to the top here and place your slabs in this position so that it's half a block lower from this block here. And then go ahead and fill the rest of the spaces in at the exact same level so that you get a nice roof just like that. And as you can see, it's pretty much done. Now all we need to do is add in the windows and the little details like the buttons over there, and then we're all complete. Alright, let's go ahead and just jump straight into this and start building our windows then. So what you want to go ahead and do for the front window is count down 2 blocks from the top, so 1, 2, and then break these 2 blocks underneath that. Then what you want to go ahead and do is fill them in with your note blocks just like so. Then use a fence gate at the top here, open that up, and then place your spruce slab. And that's your front window done. And as you can see, that was super simple, and you're basically going to repeat that on all the sides here. And just for clarification, I'm going to do that with you guys as well. So for this side wall over here, I'm just going to make it a little bit different and use some oak trapdoors instead. So what we're going to go ahead and do is punch out these 2 blocks here, fill them in with some oak trapdoors just like so. Go ahead and close those up, put our spruce fence gate on top of that, then our spruce slab, and you should see it's pretty much similar to this front window. And then basically you can use some variety in all the windows here, just replicate that on all the sides and it should look quite nice. So in this instance at the back, I'm using some note blocks again just to make it a little bit more different from the sides. And on this wall over here, I'm actually going to be doing something a little bit different. So I'm going to pop out these 2 blocks here, place my trap doors just like so. And what I'm going to do different on this side is actually not add a canopy like all these other windows, and instead add a ladder so that it looks like this build is a little bit more unique from the rest of the build. So what you're going to do is actually grab your fence gates and place them in a row just like this all the way to the window. Then go ahead and open those up, and it looks like a ladder leading on to the window, which is another entry into the build. And I personally think that's quite cool. You guys can also add a canopy if you want to that, but I think it adds a bit of variety into the build, and I think all around it looks quite nice. And you know, with all of that done, we only have one more thing left to do, which is the buttons, which is the final touch to all of our builds. So what you're going to do is come to this front side here, place a button here, a button here, a button here, and then a button here. Then come to this side, button here, button here. Then this side, button here, button here, button here, and a button here. And the final 2 places, you guys obviously know where that's going. So you want to place a button here, and then finally another button in this spot there. And I think that looks really, really good. And just like that, we're completely done with the exterior, and I have to say I absolutely adore it. And hopefully you guys love it as well in the same way that I do, because it looks like a masterpiece. Now with all of that said, we can jump straight into building the interior, and also I can show you guys how you can decorate the outside with a few of these blocks so that it looks a little bit more interesting. So let's go ahead and start with the exterior decorations. So let's grab a few of these dried kelp blocks over here and basically make a bundle at the back just to break up this wall over here, similar to what we did back there as well. So you're going to just place a bundle here, and this will just make this a little bit more interesting around the back. And you can see that already makes it look quite nice. And this green color that this dried kelp block has really kind of makes this build look nice as well. It complements it, and I think all around this looks quite cool, as you can see. And with that complete, now we can go ahead and finish off the rest of our exterior decorations. So what you want to do is grab a barrel and a chest over here, and then come around to the front and just fill up this empty corner with a few barrels and some chests, and make it feel a little bit more occupied, and that way a little bit more interesting as well. So what I'm going to do is just place a few barrels and some chests around here, and I think that will just give this place a little bit more life. So let's go ahead, place a chest there, a chest there, a chest there, and I think that all round is good enough. I think that looks quite interesting, and I like the look of that. Yeah, that I have to say that adds a big improvement to our house. And it doesn't really matter in what way you add the chests or the barrels. Either way, I have to say anything in this area looks really nice, and they add a little bit more interest and lore into the build. So anything just to fill up corners or to fill out little blank spaces is always a good thing to do for your builds. And then finally, one more thing that you can do, which is super important when playing in survival, is actually adding in some proper doors so that mobs just don't wander into your builds. So what we've got here is a jungle door, which I actually haven't included in the builds list because this is kind of optional for you guys. So what you want to do is grab your jungle door, which complements the sandy color here, and place it over there in this position so that mobs don't enter through your front door. And then go ahead and do the same for your back door as well, which should end up looking quite nice, must I add. So with that complete, now your exterior is fully complete with decorations as well, and it looks absolutely stunning. Now let's go ahead and start building up our interiors, and what I'm going to do is build it up first and then show you guys around it so that you guys can get an idea of what you can fill in this space here. Okie dokie, it's me from 5 minutes in the future, and I've gone ahead and finished up our interior. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. And basically what I've gone ahead and done is replicated the interior that I showed you guys at the beginning down here, and basically just rebuilt it in this house so that you guys can get a better understanding of what goes where. So let's just go ahead and jump straight into it and head inside the build. So if we open our front door here and just take a step inside, you can see the interior actually looks quite nice. So basically, as you enter, you've got your crafting table. It's a very small interior, just keep that in mind because this is only a starter house, and you guys can change it to your liking, but mine is very aesthetic based, so hopefully you guys like it. So basically, you've got your crafting table here for your crafting needs. You've got some barrels for some storage, and it also looks like a little really nice kind of shelf. Then you've got a little table and chair set up over here. So I think that looks quite nice. You know, if you have someone over, you can always just take a seat on either side and talk over this flower pot with a flower in it. And we've also got that flower pot here as well, which I talked to you guys about a little bit earlier, where we popped out this window so that we can place this flower on the windowsill, which I think looks quite nice. And then over here, I've actually used some looms, which is quite a unique block to make a very good looking table. So I just used some 2 looms and a trapdoor, and then placed some decorations on top of that, which I must say look quite nice. And then I've gone ahead and decorated the walls as well using some paintings here and an item frame with a shovel in it, because we're of course in the desert biome. And then over here you can see for the floor design, I highly recommend using some spruce, some coarse dirt, and some sand just to make this seem a little bit more interesting. So the spruce is going to be your main floor, and then put some coarse dirt and some sand near the entrances so that it looks like when someone entered, they kicked up a bit of dirt, some sand as they're entering it, and as you enter the build, it looks like someone has walked through here with some dirty boots, and that gives it a realistic feel. But anyway, you've got this nice looking floor which continues down into the bedroom, and here it's pretty simple. We've got another shelf with some accessories on it. We've got a clock there so you can tell the time. We've got some barrels, some drawers over here with a nice little flower on it, and of course in your starter house you need to smelt some materials. So we've got a furnace here, and then of course the most important thing, as Speedubs would say, because I know a lot of you guys love him, you got a bed here so that you can sleep and pass by the night. And then there's one more little thing that I forgot to add, which is down here we've also got a little bit of extra storage that I managed to fit in to this little corner, and I think that works quite nice in such a small space. And you can see that this interior here is super small. It only took me about 2 minutes to explain it all to you guys. And that's pretty much what this house is. It's all just a starter house and it's super small. So don't expect anything more from it. But overall, I quite like it. Sometimes small spaces are super nice and I find them super cozy as well. And if you guys want to know how I ended up connecting this tower to the main build here, it's basically just come to this corner part here, punch out 3 blocks and then place a slab there. And I also did the same over here. Instead, I brought down this oak slab here and then placed down another slab, and overall I quite like that a lot. And let me know what you guys think about the interior. You can of course decorate it with whatever you want, but personally I love my interiors, and hopefully you guys like this one as well. And it might be cool to see what you guys can do to your interiors here. Basically, you can technically make this not aesthetic based at all and make this all functionality based. So you can technically rip out this entire interior that I built here and make it more, kind of useful. So you can place some chests here, some furnaces in here, and then have your bed down here, which would actually be quite a nice spot to have a bed. But anyway, I hope you guys like this tutorial because it's now reaching the end of today's video, and hopefully it's been super useful for you guys so that you guys can get a very nice looking starter house on your first day of your Minecraft world. And I personally loved it, and hopefully you guys do as well. So with all of that being said, then that's going to have to be all from me in today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys in the next video coming up on my channel. Bye.